So this is Ephesians 6, and we're gonna start in verse 11. It says, put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything to stand, stand firm. And stand firm with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. Paul is painting this picture of a soldier getting ready for battle, because it's one thing to recognize that there is an enemy. It's another thing to realize that you have to get ready to fight back against the enemy. And I think that one of the ways that the enemy attacks us is by diverting our attention. You think your enemy is your boss or your spouse or maybe your mother-in-law, not me. Some of us wake up in the morning, we're ready for a fight with the wrong enemy. Paul says our struggle is not against people. It's not against flesh and blood. It is against spiritual forces in a heavenly realm. And you gotta get ready. And here's how you do it. He says, you put on your armor. Now, when we get dressed for the day, at least when I get dressed for the day, the last thing I do is put my shoes on. But if you were putting on armor, like, you're gonna have a breastplate and a shield and a sword. Your hands are gonna be tied up. So you gotta put your shoes on first, right? And Paul says that our feet are fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. Look at your neighbor and say, I'm ready. Now look down at their shoes and tell me how ready you think they are. Oh my goodness. How many of you know? How many of you are looking at my shoes and they're like, she ain't ready? Shoes matter. Stephen and I have this funny thing that we say. We got it from a book from several years ago. And so we say to each other, did you choose wisely? Like he was preaching at an event recently in Orlando, and so we had to get up super early, and we flew to the location, then we went straight from the airport to the convention center. And by the time we got to the hotel, hours and hours later, he looked at me in the elevator and he looked down at my shoes and he said, did you choose wisely? I rarely do. I'm vain. I always go for fashion first. Like, have you ever wondered why when I do the welcome, like if my chair is right there, why do I not come up these stairs? Why do I walk all the way around and come from the back? It's because I'm always a little bit unstable in my vanity shoes. I just am. And I would never come up these stairs because I'm so afraid that I'm just gonna fall in front of everyone. Let me show you my steadiest shoes that I owned. I packed a bag for this sermon. Reflect bag. These are my hiking boots. They are sturdy and they are waterproof. And when I have these shoes on, I really feel like I can maybe walk forever. Not exactly, but the longest time in these shoes. And Stephen and I like to hike together. Now, if you're watching this and you live in Colorado, you might call what we do walking in the woods. But we live in North Carolina, and we actually, if you think of Asheville, we live like 2 hours from Asheville. But what we do is hiking to us. So we can drive about an hour west of our house and find a good trail that's not too long, not too steep, enough for us to feel like we got out in the great outdoors and got a little bit of exercise and got home by dinner. And so I use this app, it's called All Trails, to find new trails to download the maps. And so don't they make the most amazing apps these days? There's an app for everything. So the other day, I wanted us to try a new trail that I found that's called the Baden Lake Trail. So we pull up, we drive, it's about an hour and 20 minutes from our house. We pull up to the trail and it looks paved from the car. And so I decided not to put my boots on. Remember, fashion first. So I'm not gonna we went to lunch, so I wasn't gonna wear these to lunch. So they were in the car. I had my white Hokas on, and I thought that they would be fine. Maybe you can feel where this story is going. The trail was paved for about 50 yards. Rookie mistake, and we go hiking all the time, and normally even when we do a new trail, I'll read the reviews about the trail, just see if it's a good one. And for some reason, I didn't read the reviews that time. And so I went back when I was preparing this sermon, and I looked up the reviews of this particular trail, and I want to show it to you. So it says, it's got 4.4 stars, and 1,000 people have reviewed this trail. And then it says, trail goers are saying, highlights include beautiful lake views, a well-marked trail, and it's dog-friendly. Challenges are muddy areas, rocky sections, and limited parking. Reviewers suggest sturdy footwear and bug spray. Guys, we walked over 5 miles, and I was trying so hard to keep my shoes white. So I was like hopping over puddles, and we were crossing creeks at times, and my feet were, I know some of you are like, well, you were in tennis shoes, but my feet were sliding all around in my tennis shoes. And about mile 3, I started to get a blister on the bottom of one of my toes. And by the time we got back to the car, I didn't want to complain, so I was trying not to say anything. By the time we got to the car, I was walking like this. And my shoes were so dirty. I did not choose wisely. Look again one more time at Ephesians 6:15. It says, and with your feet, fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. Yeah. Paul is saying there is a battle going on for your very soul, and you have got to fight back. And your first line of defense is to make sure that your feet are stable with the gospel of peace. So, thank you. This is not peace. Don't judge me, you steal the hotel slippers too. Also, this is not peace. This is peace. So some scholars say that Paul is making a reference to the sandals that the Roman soldiers wore and how they were specifically designed to go long distances and to go over rough terrains. And actually the Roman soldiers could oh no, my pants. I just tied my pants into the, hold on guys. It's really hard to talk and tie your shoes at the same time. The Roman soldiers, they could cover distances twice as fast as the other armies. And a lot of people say it was because they had spent a lot of time on their shoes. They even put metal little tacks on the bottom of them so that they were more sturdy. Other people say that Paul was referring to the prophecy from Isaiah when he said, sorry, I have to look down here. When he said, how beautiful are the feet on the mountains that bring the good news. Yeah. Let me tie this up so I can stand up and tell you that I'm saying it's both. When you lace up with peace, you're getting yourself ready for the fight that's ahead. And all the people that are watching you walk up that mountain, they're gonna be amazed. They're gonna look at your life and they're gonna wonder, how are you handling your circumstances? And you're gonna try and tell them that what you have is peace, but it's indescribable. It's not pretty, but it's what's holding you up. And if you want to I'm going to preach in these shoes the rest of the time because they're way more comfortable. If you want to have any chance in this fight, you're going to have to operate from a place of peace. If you want to hold your peace, you got to tie it on. You got to double knot it. Look how steady I am now. Look, I can even go up and down the stairs like Pastor Stephen when he preaches. And when I'm here, you can't even see my shoes. But when I go back up here, you can see the full picture. I think life is like that, like maybe there's someone you know that seems so peaceful. Do a close-up again. There are things about me right now that you can't see because you're not getting the full picture of preparation that I have done to handle whatever trouble faces me. You see, you don't see my practices. You don't see me double knotting my peace so that I don't lose it with the people that I work with or the people that I live with.
Thanks for watching. I hope that encouraged you today. Make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss out on other videos like this, and I will see you back here next time.